Sometimes in life, things don't go according to plan. Maybe you get laid off from your job, maybe your significant other dumps you, maybe your car breaks down when you're already having a crappy day. On days where the world seems indifferent, uncaring, or even cruel, something a lot of people do is surround themselves with something familiar and comforting. Maybe you go see your mom and dad, or surround yourself with friends. Maybe you put on your favorite movies or shows. Me? I replay the Mass Effect trilogy in its entirety. Something that I've grown to love over the years is the idea of having a comfort game. Something you can always go back to, have a good time with, and fire off those old synapses that once brought you so much joy. The worst feeling in the world is when even those old comforts don't seem to dull the ache quite like they used to. On the flip side of that, there's nothing quite as heartwarming as finding that your old friends are still there for you, and you love them just as much as the day you left them. The Mass Effect trilogy is just that to me. Something that never fails to make me smile or get me excited to sit in one place for a few hours. I got the whole trilogy in a bundle sometime shortly after Mass Effect 3 came out. I got to experience the trilogy in its entirety from start to finish without having to wait for the next entry between dev cycles. I don't know for sure if that anticipation of waiting would have colored my opinion of these games any differently, but I'm glad I experienced them the way that I did. Within the span of just a few weeks, I finished this series and really haven't been the same since. All these years later, I still find myself going back to this franchise that has touched my heart, shaped my character, and blessed me with lifelong memories that I can tell my children about. And it all started with this rough, scrappy little RPG that began the story of Commander Shepard and the Normandy crew. Strap in, guys, it's about to get sappy. By all means, Mass Effect 1 is really not my kind of game. It's a clunky third-person shooter that's heavier on the RPG elements than the action. It can, at times, be unfairly janky, unresponsive, and hilariously buggy. Later games were able to engage me a lot easier with the more streamlined, fast-paced combat and simplified RPG elements. But honestly, none of these things are what initially sank their teeth into my soft boy flesh. That would be the story and the characters. Mass Effect 1 does not waste any time with its premise. You, yes you specifically, or whatever character you choose to create, are a famous/infamous soldier for Earth's spacefaring Alliance military, and due to your notable history, you're given a ship, a crew, and a chance to represent humanity amidst an already established galactic community. Humankind has not been a member of this community for very long, so you are given the unique opportunity to represent all that humanity has to offer the galaxy as you are sent on a dangerous mission to stop a rogue operative, a Spectre. Little do you know just how much insanity awaits you at the end of this journey. The story here really is something. That premise alone is enough to keep me invested in what might happen next after every single mission. Not only do you gallivant around the galaxy looking for trouble and letting trouble find you, but you are given specific choices to shape exactly how things should play out. Some of them seem small, like choosing to help your allies while making things harder on yourself, or helping yourself and letting them pick up the slack. Some of them are more personal, like being forced to choose who to save between your only human squad mates. Some of them carry galaxy-spanning consequences as well. Will you release a former enemy and give them a chance at a fresh start, or eliminate them so history will not repeat itself? This game came out in 2007, when choices in video games were becoming the hot ticket for engaging narratives in video games. Within only a few years, games like Infamous, Heavy Rain, and even Spider-Man Web of Shadows would make player choice a key selling point. Do you want to be a goody two-shoes paragon, or a cold, heartless, badass renegade? For a lot of people, that question was first asked here. And sure, these choices might be fairly simple on the surface. Heck, these games basically encourage you to choose how you want to play from the start and then stick with it rather than switching up your choices at any point. Every choice even corresponds to a specific color or a specific position on the dialogue wheel. And yet, the interesting moments come from those choices where your chosen path contradicts what you might actually do in a given scenario. Take this moment with the Rachni Queen. On your first playthrough, you might be a paragon of justice that thinks twice about letting a race of spider telepaths free. Spider telepaths that have been throwing acid at you and were the bad guys of an entire war in the past, by the way. And your teammates will make you second guess yourself too. Be honest, we've all saved scummed a moment like this at least once. These are the kinds of choices that, even with dialogue trees that are simple in their intent and presentation, make you as a player emotionally invested in the choices you make and what is actually right or wrong. But as I just mentioned, you are not making these choices alone. Mass Effect 1 is the first in a trilogy of games that withstands years of scrutiny and nostalgia decay because the characters in it are reflections of our own desires, fears, and dreams. If you're not sure what to do, these colorful knuckleheads will probably have a suggestion. In this game, like any beloved piece of media, the characters are what will stick with you long after the shooting stops. And what a gorgeous, merry band of losers this game puts by your side. Urdnot Rex is little more than an apathetic mercenary when you meet him, but depending on your decisions, might go on to be a progressive leader to rally his people for real change, centuries in the making. Liara T'Soni is an awkward, naive archaeologist that doesn't know yet just how powerful and important she can be. Tali Zora is a young, chipper gal on a pilgrimage to prove herself to her people before returning home, unaware of the true horrors of growing up. Ashley Williams is a soldier, much like yourself, but maybe still has some growing up to do before she can see the humanity that every sentient being carries, whether they know it or not. Garrus Vakarian is an ex-cop that's tired of the red tape and wants to help you make a difference, even if it seems like his good intentions always have unexpected consequences. And Caden Alenko is also there. The initial crew is by your side for the entire game and always shows support even when they may not agree with your actions. They are by your side in firefights, provide witty dialogue when you're verbally manipulating people, and they can't shut up about their people's history during long elevator rides. BioWare made sure you are rarely without something new to learn about these guys, and everything they say seems to endear you even more to them. And when circumstances do eventually pit you against one another, it's tense. Because this game has consequences. Caden or Ashley must die on Vermeer. Rex also has a chance to die here and be totally absent for the rest of the series. The same can be said about a handful of other characters whose fate lies in your hands. BioWare was not afraid to deprive large amounts of players of entire parts of later games that bring great joy to the players that experience them. If you are not consistent with your morality or simply make certain choices that seem right in the moment, there will be consequences. Doesn't matter if you go full good or full bad, there are consequences to your actions. But those come later, because this game took a gamble. Most games start with a concrete beginning, middle, and end, wrapping up things in a neat package with room for a sequel if they perform well. Mass Effect does this too, but it also plants a lot of seeds for the future, an imminent threat of biblical proportions that can never be solved if this game did not resonate with players. But thanks to the aforementioned characters that hold your hand through this alien universe of surprisingly familiar political dynamics and personal struggles, this game succeeded, and we find ourselves now talking about one of the greatest video games ever made. Mass Effect 2 takes everything great about the first game, trims the fat, dials it up to 11, and then blasts it into the moon at Mach. More action, more cutscenes, more amazing characters, and a new mission. In Mass Effect 1, you delayed galactic extinction and bought life a little more time. In the first game, a race of sentient machines called the Reapers threatened to invade the galaxy and extinguish all advanced life in it. Once you send their vanguard to robot hell, his friend Harbinger takes notice of you. This is the first game in the series where the importance of you, Commander Shepard, takes center stage. The game literally begins with Shepard being undoubtedly killed in an attack orchestrated by the Reapers, and someone out there, a guardian angel or perhaps something more sinister, needs you back. 2 years and an unfathomable amount of money are spent circumventing nature itself, because you are just that important. The elusive man has his own motives in the end, but he knows that nobody can bring together a loyal group of specialists quite like Commander Shepard. Once again, you are given your own ship, your own crew, and while your ultimate goal is still to stop something that threatens humanity and the wider galaxy in general, your primary objective is to assemble a team. Mass Effect 2 is generally considered to be the best game in the trilogy, and I think there's a very good reason for that. The first game needed to lay a lot of groundwork for this brand new story. Dozens of in-depth codex entries can fill you in on the details, but a lot of the context in the first game was explored through character dialogue. Character interactions tended to simply revolve around exposition about a specific character's race and its history. Now that BioWare had put in the work to get everyone on board with the world that this game lives in, they could focus on character. Some of the characters still mostly talk about their people's history, but it's still endearing here, and they still deliver some fascinating dialogue that paints each character as flawed and sympathetic. The game highlights the importance of spending time with these people and helping them with their problems before taking them on a mission that is all but guaranteed to be a one-way trip. That's why the Elusive Man went to great lengths to keep you alive, because you inspire loyalty, whether that's through brutal honesty and tactical efficiency, or genuine empathy and kindness in the face of cruelty. There are more squad mates to choose from here than any game in the series, and not a single one of them feels like a wasted slot in the roster. Every character has their own troubled past, goals, and relationships to one another as well as to you. Here are some of my favorites. Jack is a hardened criminal that was raised to be the ultimate weapon and struggles to find meaning in a seemingly indifferent universe. Legion looks just like the very same artificial threat that helped the Reapers in the first game, a race of sentient machines looking for the chance to survive in a galaxy that hates them, except it has something akin to hope, that perhaps peace is a viable option. Thane Krios is a terminally ill Drell assassin that kills with ruthless efficiency, but hopes to do some good in the galaxy before he passes away. Grunt is a completely artificial warrior with all the strength and genetic battle sense of a true Krogan, with a juvenile lack of purpose or identity just like any youngster would have. There are also returning squad mates that help you on your journey as loyal as ever, while others have moved on to new ventures in your absence. Garrus Vakarian has completely broken through the red tape as a vigilante on his own, and no qualms about joining up with Shepard to save the galaxy once again. Tali Zora has gotten caught up in the very grim way of life her people lead, placed in a position of leadership she doesn't quite feel ready for, allowing her to eagerly stand by your side once more, knowing you will choose what is right. Liara Tassoni and Erdnot Rex have both taken less action-heavy roles amongst their people, instead being inspired by their time with you to try carving out their own ways of helping their people thrive. Jacob Taylor is also there. There are so many more fantastic characters in this game, but I think you get the point. They start out as soldiers, comrades in your fight to save the galaxy even when the claim of Reapers has been dismissed. But over time, they become friends, maybe even more as you get to know them. The premise of Mass Effect 2, even if you have no intention of playing the other games, is simple. Assemble a team, take them on an impossible mission. How you interact between the beginning and end of the game and how that affects the teammates that you're gathering is up to you. Because just like the first game, this one carries many choices for Shepard to make, and the consequences are even more personal this time around. Will you encourage your teammate to have a relationship with a sister she feels better off watching over unseen, or remind her that the less she knows the better? Will you make Legion more powerful by having him assimilate even more of his race into an already massive amount of units that exist within his body, or destroy them for good and weaken his race down the line? Will you help your mercenary recruit Zaid chase down an old grudge at any cost to earn his loyalty, or stop to help those he puts in danger along the way? Will you crack open the tank that holds a powerful but unpredictable warrior inside, or keep him stowed away to avoid the risk? Will you convince Mordin to keep data that could save the Krogan from a genetic disease that he helped to create, or destroy it so the Krogan never become too powerful again? Will you help Samara kill her own daughter Morinth for exposing the galaxy to her unique genetic killer instinct? Or will you side with Morinth as a sympathetic figure against her ruthless mother? All of these choices bear consequences that will directly affect your relationships and short-term goals in the game, while having wider implications you probably cannot even imagine in the next game. But unlike the first game, all of these decisions become more small-scale, more personal this time around. They don't just affect the galaxy in a way you'll be told about later, they will directly affect you and your crew in a battle that is to come. And thus, we get to the final mission of the game. This one mission, the finale, is probably the reason this game is so well beloved today. We will talk about the Citadel DLC from Mass Effect 3 in a little bit, don't worry, but this suicide mission is Mass Effect 2's version of that very same idea with the stakes raised to 11. Everybody you've gathered so far is here, but the stakes could never be higher. Because in this mission, nobody is safe, not even you. You'd have to make some very specific choices to do so, but every last member of your squad can die in this mission. The game has done its best to make it very clear so far that just assembling a team is not enough. You need to earn their loyalty, you need to get to know them, spend time with them, and learn what makes them special. Like any good leader, you need to understand your team's strengths and weaknesses to make it out alive. Do you send Jacob to do a dangerous technical task just because he volunteered? Or will you choose someone you know is fit for the job? Who amongst your team possesses the leadership qualities necessary to lead a second strike team to meet you on the other side? Which of your biotic teammates is capable of maintaining a force field for a long period of time? These are the kinds of decisions the game forces you to make, and lacking an understanding of what makes your teammates individually special will result in certain death for even your most beloved and loyal squad mates. Likewise, the game has been telling you to help your teammates settle old grudges and unfinished business before you depart for this mission, because anything less than their full commitment will also result in death. Even simply waiting too long to do the final mission can result— "Oh god, Kelly, I'm so sorry! I thought I was quick enough, shit!" I won't lie, you basically need to look up online exactly how to make sure everyone survives, and you may miss a detail even if you do so. But that's kind of what makes this mission so special. It feels real, it feels dangerous and unpredictable. You genuinely worry for those you have come to care about over the last 2 games. I've played this game countless times, and I still clench up during this scene, hoping my squaddies get up even though I did everything right. Watching your teammates die is like the ending of Infinity War, but instead of being characters you've come to love by simply watching them on a screen, you are instead responsible for the lives of people you recruited, you talked to, you formed relationships with. Whether or not they show up again in Mass Effect 3 is entirely on your shoulders, and it can be devastating when one of your favorite characters dies a completely preventable death. When all is said and done, you and your surviving team are lucky to make it back in one piece. And yet, despite all you have already done in sacrifice, the worst is yet to come. Mass Effect 3 is the culmination of every decision you've made up to this point, and every historic decision you will make in this game alone. For 2 games, you've been delaying and preparing for the Reaper threat as best you can, and this game wastes no time demonstrating just why it was a threat worth preparing for. In Mass Effect 1, it takes an entire fleet of ships and countless lives to stop just one Reaper. In Mass Effect 3, you have to take down an army of them. Skyscraper-sized Lovecraftian horrors blacken the skies. The very place you call home is razed to the ground, as sentient beings are treated as nothing more than ants under a magnifying glass, and the galaxy puts the burden of preserving life entirely on your shoulders. Will the power of friendship really be enough this time? Over the last 2 games, you've grown invested in the characters you've met on your quest to fight the Reapers. Through them, you learn of not just their personal struggles, but the larger struggles their people endure. You have spent the entire time helping people with their personal problems to further your own goals. In Mass Effect 3, you are tasked with solving centuries-old conflicts and settling deeply held grudges between entire races in order to unite the galaxy against a common threat. Politics still reign supreme even when the fate of all intelligent life is at stake, and before you can get the support you need to save your home and the homes of everyone in the galaxy, you have to appease the ones holding the power. The Turians want the support of the Krogan, something deemed impossible for centuries, as the Turians were the ones that commissioned the genophage to stop the Krogan from growing in numbers. The Krogan wants you to cure the genophage. The Solarians who created the genophage will deny you support unless you sabotage the genophage. The Quarians want the Geth off their planet so they can return home after years of war, but Legion wants you to give it a chance to make peace. All sides have skin in the game, but personal vendettas and deeply ingrained prejudices prevent them from working together. And it falls on you to settle these galactic squabbles and unite people that really do not want to be united. As usual, this involves a lot of running, gunning, and blowing shit up. All to get you into the position you need to convince everyone in the galaxy that we are stronger together. And once again, your choices will have consequences. Will you destroy the Geth to ensure the Quarian fleet, or risk both by trying to make peace? Will you deceive the Krogan in order to have more support in the short term against the Reapers, while risking more war if you survive? Or will you stick to your principles even if you will objectively be weaker for the fight ahead? And will you even bother helping all of the individuals you pass by along the way? The game has a pretty clear-cut indicator of how prepared you are for the fight ahead, and some decisions will grant you massive advantages, while some offer very little. Is that incremental, smaller scale, larger than the sum of its parts support really worth it to you? All of these things culminate in, Well, we all know how infamous this game's ending is. You can find plenty of other people on this platform that dive into this subject. All I'll say about the ending is that I'm still on board with indoctrination theory until Mass Effect 4 comes out. Look it up. That's really not how I want to end this video. Honestly, that's really not even how BioWare wanted to end things. Because after this game came out, a piece of DLC was released that is the main reason I think that this game is beloved at all these years later. In comparison to the first two, I mean. A chunk of content so reverent to the Mass Effect fandom that it essentially defines this game even if it may not have been the plan all along. That, of course, is the Citadel DLC. What do you do when your game's ending is received so poorly across the board by everyone that expected a little bit more than which color laser beam you get in the final cutscene?
This is Shepard! We need to...
That's why I love hanging out with you guys. Why shoot something once when you can shoot it 46 more times?
This. You do this. Mass Effect 3's Citadel DLC is an unapologetic romp of pure fan service and inside jokes for the Mass Effect fandom. It is little more than an excuse to have all your favorite characters hang out in a brief story that has decidedly lower stakes, so all the military jargon can be supplanted with fun dialogue and silly situations. Situations you never thought you would see these characters in. Characters that otherwise don't really say much to each other across the three games interact in ways you always kind of hoped that they would. Long-time debates amongst the fans are explored in fun scenes. Your chosen romantic partner is just ludicrously obsessed with you the entire time.
Scenery's not bad either. Though the view in front of me is even better.
That's supposed to melt a girl's heart?
No, but this voice is.
Oh my god! Squad mates that you thought would never fight alongside you again are given some time to relive the glory days. Just like old times. Character traits that were touched on in previous games are elevated to ridiculous heights for the sake of it, and inside jokes are brought to everyone's attention to show that the developers listen. They see what you joke about on the forums, and they know exactly what you love about these characters, for better or for worse. The developers clearly had just as much fun making this DLC as we all did playing it. The excuse they came up with for bringing all these characters together here is also a simple yet fascinating one. Something that gives you an excuse to see things never before shown in any prior games, while also putting a bow on exactly what it is that makes Commander Shepard so special. And now this is the part where I just kind of show you a montage of all my favorite moments from this DLC. Stuff that made me giggle and kick my feet.
What?
I was hoping to come.
As did I. 50,000 years later, and I rarely get picked.
I told you already. No! Yes, I like pie. And no, you can't come in.
I don't suppose you need anything around here. Calibrated. Yeah, okay. Maybe I should just stop saying that word, but only if Liara stops saying, by the goddess.
Honestly, I thought it might help if you two just kissed and got it over with. What? I mean, this is all just sexual tension, right? Two powerful biotics, forceful personalities, confident in their sexuality.
You are shitting me. Oh my god. I'm ready to record. I'm pretty sure there's a market for this.
Salarian. Charge! Death day. It's sad the Hanar can't wear sweaters. What are clowns hiding?
She'll definitely want eggs.
Specialist.
Commander?
Kick her ass. So he won't dance with you, huh? Hello, Shepard. He will not. Well, I will.
Yeah, I love this shit. And I was so sad when shore leave was finally over, and we all had to go back to fighting mile-high demons from dark space. But the fun can't last forever. Mass Effect 3 may not have been the conclusion everybody wanted, and may not be the bright spot of the series that Mass Effect 2 was, but it delivers on the series' premise in so many satisfying ways that I really don't give a damn. And honestly, I never really gave a damn. By the time I played this game, the Citadel DLC and the extended cut ending were already released, so they were included in my first playthrough of this game all those years ago. And although I think ending the game with a slideshow is, admittedly, lame as f***, I still have fond memories of all the time I spent with these characters in this world. The destination might not have stuck the landing, but the journey was so good, so much fun, and so important to me in my developmental years that I really don't give a shit. The Mass Effect trilogy is one of the greatest trilogies ever made, in video games and otherwise. Few things feel like individual, fantastic pieces of a planned whole quite like these games do. It has witty dialogue, important choices, colossal stakes, and characters that will live rent-free in my head for the rest of my life. It may not be perfect, it may not be exactly what people wanted at times, but it was a damn good ride.
The best.